Uh, Ayin Amid Beis. Ukshus lo shelo bismana. Kshus is a vegetable, and you're supposed to eat it, not it when it's ripe. Tana kashem shekasher shelo bismana. Just like it's hard, not in its time. Kach yofa bismana. It's very good when you eat it in its time. Amra pa bismana is Tammuz. The right time is summer. Shelo bismana is Teves, is winter. Yomi Nisan v'Yomi Tishrei is lo mali v'lo kashi. Nisan and Tishrei are neutral. Amar kisvu get liishti. He said to write again. V'achso kurdaikus. And then he lost his mind. The Chazer v'Amar al tichtavu. And then he says, don't write it. Ein dvar v'achronim klum. And you write the get. Because what he said after he got sick is not taken into account. Amr Shem ben Lakish. Koisvin v'noisin get la'alter. That means the moment he says kisvu get liishti, and he got sick, you write the get and give it. Rav Yechon says you don't give it until he got healed. My time at Reish Lakish Tiktani ein b'dvar v'achronim klum. The Mishnah says that whatever he says afterwards doesn't mean anything. So, since he gave instructions to give the get, you give the get. Means that when he gets clear, you rely on his original words. But the problem is, since he's not an intact person now, Rav Yechon says you shouldn't give it. Because what are they arguing? Reish Lakish medami le'liyosha. Reish Lakish says he's like a sleeping person. Means he gave instructions and went to sleep. Just because he went to sleep doesn't mean you forget his original instructions. Rav Yechon medami le'lishoita. Rav Yechon says you compare him to a crazy person. And therefore, crazy person, while he's in that state, cannot divorce his wife. Because he's not a bardas at that point. So why doesn't Rav Yochanan why doesn't Rav Yochanan compare to a sleeping person? Because Yoshan loy mechusar maisa. Somebody who's sleeping just wakes up on his own without a maisa. Here, when you're kordaikus, you have to take a medicine. Hi, mechusar maisa. Reish Lakish Nami Nadami L'Shoita. How come Reish Lakish should compare it to a Meshikin? L'Shoita Lo Sami Biyada. Someone who's insane, not Kordaikas. We don't have medicine for him. We can't reverse that. But Kordaikas Hasami Biyada, we have medicine that can reverse it, which was Bisra Sumka Gourmet V'Chamra Marka. Lean meat roasted over coals with diluted wine. So, Umiyam Rav Yochanan Hachi? Did Rav Yochanan say we wait until he gets healed before we give the get? Rav Yudah Shmuel. A person takes a knife and shachat boshnaim rav shnai. He cuts the throat of another person. And he cut the simonim, meaning the trachea and the esophagus, at least 51% of it. And before the guy dies, Ramaz v'amar kisvu get liishti. He can't speak because his trachea has been cut, but he gives some kind of remez. So you'd give the get. And Vitanya Ra'u Magurido Tzolav Tzliva. You see a person being crucified. The Ramaz Amar Kisu get liishti. He also gives instructions through Remiza. So here, even though these people are going to die, he can still give a get. How come we don't say this thing? How come Rav Yochanan doesn't say the same thing by Kordaikas? Or says Achiyash, there's no comparison. Here, he has a clear mind if he's being crucified or his throat was cut. He's just weak. But here, he doesn't have the right. So, Shmuel Hachi, did Shmuel really say that a person whose throat is cut can give a get? Shachat b'shnaim rav shnayim uvarach, and the person runs away. The person who had his throat cut. We don't know what happened to him. Me'idin alav. Witnesses can say that he died to marry his wife off. But if you can give a get, he's treated like a chai. Amai me'idin alav. Why can you give testimony that he's dead? Armi chayu v'sof alamos. Yeah, now he's alive, but then he's going to die. Well, elameyato yegoil al yodo. If you accidentally drop a knife and it cuts the two simonim of a person, and we say for sure he's going to die, yegoil al yodo. You should be able to go to Golus, to an Iramikla. Alama Tanya Shachat Boshnaim Rav Shnaim Areze Eina Gola. He doesn't go into Golus because we're concerned that he didn't die directly from the wound, but rather the wind blew, and that caused his death. The guy himself, by flopping around, he hastened his own death. My binay, what's the difference between the two cases? He was in a marble room that had no wind, but he flopped around, so he led to his own death. So he was shechted outside. And we saw that he didn't move. So there we would say the wind is what hastened his misa. Nishtatek, if he got some illness where he couldn't speak, and we say, should we write a get for your wife? And he shakes his head. Yes, we said that he can give a get. Maybe he's just shaking his head like this or like this, not really like a tremor, not really understanding. How can we rely on yes and no? On Rav Yosef, Bisirugin. We don't ask the 3 yes questions and 3 no questions. We ask him a yes question, then we ask him a no question. So, if he's doing this, we're going to be able to differentiate. Maybe his tremor is like this and this and this and this. That means maybe he's got an up and down, side to side tremor, which alternates. How do we know for sure that he's what he's saying? Oh, Darmina like chad lav would train hey, would train lav chad hey. You ask him 1 negative question and 2 yes questions, and then 2 negative questions and 1 yes question. So there's no pattern. And if he gives the right answers, you can rely on, if you ask him, should I write a get? And he says yes, you can give the get. Vera Bishmal Tana. My new Elam Gluf Christini, like, do you want to wear this heavy coat in the summer? He should say no. But we can't rely on that. Maybe he's cold and he wants to warm up even in the summer. You have to ask him, do you want to eat plums now? Because it's in the summertime, they have plums. He would say yes. It means you'd have to, give him the various fruits that are noyeg in either summer or winter. Arav Karamara. Cheresh yochel ledaber b'toch. You have a deaf person, and he married a woman when he was not deaf. Therefore, the kiddushin is a good kiddushin. And it said in Yevamis, Kuf Yud Beis, that if he became deaf, he can't divorce her because he has no das. And the gerushin that Chachamim gave a cheresh, the mafkia kiddushin, that's only kiddushin rabbanon. But here, he can communicate by writing. So, nice and get lishto. In this case, he can write a get, and because obviously he has intelligence, he's not a complete cheresh. Or maybe it's a maikamash. We learned that in our Mishnah, that if he's mute, so we write a get. V'hirkin berosh, and he shakes his head yes. We say we check him 3 times. It's already learned that there are chreishim that have intelligence. You're asking me about a mute who can hear? He's a pikech l'chol dvarav. Shiny Elaim the Tanya Midaber Veino Shomea, somebody who speaks can't hear Zeu Cheresh. Not the typical Cheresh that the Chachamim say that he's a shoita. This one's Bikech, someone who can speak. And Shomea Veino Midaber, if he hears and doesn't speak Zeu Elaim, but he's also a Pikech. That's not the typical Cheresh. And therefore, their get is a good get. Now, we might medaber ben shomer zecheresh, shomer vein medaber ze ilim t'chsiv. Ani kecheresh lo eshma, I can't hear as a cheresh. Ki ilim lo yichtav pi, and an ilim can't speak. Pas viboy seimo kedamri inshi ishtakel milule. Ilim is an abbreviation for my speech has been taken away. If you have a problem, this is the problem. Tanya. It says, if you know testimony for somebody and you refuse to give testimony, it says, but that's if you falsely say, I don't know testimony, and then it turns out that you did know testimony, you have to bring a korban. But prat le'ilim sheni yochel hagi. An ilim is going to be potter from korban because he can't speak. Based on what we're learning tonight, if he can write it down and we can understand him, then he should be able to bring a korban. You're talking about testimony in court. Shiny edus Rachmana Omer mipihem v'lo mipi ksava. It says al pishnayim edim. It says pi, their mouth. So there's a gzeres hakosov that edus have to give testimony by their mouth, not in writing. And if he's a cheresh who's medaber, if he can speak and not hear, or hear and not speak, and we've checked him, the lav and hein, he's pasal edus, says the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch, because of this gzeres hakos. Meisvei. Kashem shabot kirosol Gittin. Just like they check somebody who became silent through an illness. Hein, lav, for Gittin. Kach boitkinosol l'masos l'matonis, business. Ula edios, testimonially rishos. Tani mias eduyos. So here, somebody who can't speak or is bringing up proof that they can't testify. Amrav Yosef Amanyum Rav Sheshes. The edus isha, only the specific testimony to say that a woman's husband has died. Akilu be rabbana. Because as we know, the chachamim are make, but regular edus no. Break the more about Tani Yerushos, and that is regular edus. Amrav Abo. Yerushas b'no abachor. It means he cannot testify about somebody else's property, but he can say which one of his sons is the Bechor. Like dividing up assets, that all of it belonged to him anyways. It says he can do business. So the Gemara says, it's only with him, with his own personal assets that we said about a Bechor, but not edus. Meisvei. Cheresh. He didn't follow his hints, of his jumps. When you need testimony, but metaltalin, then you can rely on these types of actions. Avalol Gittin. But you can't rely on it for Gittin. So how come we said before, Cheresh, we can't give instructions for get. So where it says, Tanoi, it's machlokes Tanoi, the Tanya. That's if he was born a deaf mute. If he was intelligent and then became deaf, who called say ve'ein choismin? He can write and they can sign. And the cheresh mikara lo, kishem shekons b'remiza, just like he can hint to a woman to get married to him, kach motzia b'remiza. So ibi ishto chanami. So with his wife, that's correct. But hachmayiskin be a vimto, where the koach is minat Torah, since a person gets a cheresh gets married, the kiddush is omid rabbanon. So when he gets divorced, it's also omid rabbanon. But when we don't allow it, that's by when a brother dies and the woman falls to him, and therefore that's midoraisa. How is it a yavam? If the woman fell to him from a brother who was a mute, so that's okay. And this brother's also a mute, just like the first brother. You could do the same thing going in and going out. Must be the Natalei Me'achit Bikeh. The wife fell from a normal brother. And that's where we don't allow the cheresh brother because his is only midrabon. We don't allow it even there as a gzeira because of an intelligent brother. So ihachi ishtonami. So why don't we make the same gzeira by his wife? We allow a cheresh to divorce his wife. So yivimto be yivimto michlafa. A yavama to another yavama, people will make a mistake. So we have to make a low plug type of gzeira. Ishto be yivimto lo michlafa, but people getting married to their wife versus a yavama, people are not going to make a mistake. We allow that. We're not going to come to allow that. Do we do such a gzeira? Vatnan. Nei achim chershim, two deaf-mute brothers, nesuin shtei achayos pikos, who are married to intelligent women. Shtei achayos chershos, two sisters who were deaf-mute, who got married to the two brothers. Or shtei achayos, or they get married to two sisters, achas pikos, achas question. V'chein shtei achayos chershos nesuas neshtei akach achin pikin. You have two deaf-mute women married to two intelligent brothers, or to two brothers deaf-mute. In all these cases, you're talking about two brothers, two sisters, like we always learn, because it's an erva to achosisha. However, if they were not sisters, yichnesu, they can live with them and do the yibum. And then if they want to divorce them afterwards, they can. And that's a general halacha. So even the deaf-mute brother can be motzi his yavama for the get. And we're not goizer, like we said before. So the Gemara says, you have to go back to what we answered. We're talking about a yavama that fell in front of a cheresh who was a cheresh me'ikr from an intelligent brother. So the intelligent brother is midaraisa. The marriage of a cheresh is only midrabon. The other Tanoim argued with that we don't rely on the writing of a cheresh. If the person got married and then the woman becomes a Meshigana, lo yotzi, you need her das. The Chachamim prohibit to divorce her. In Nischaresh hu or Nishtata hu lo yitzei olamis. Also, there's no divorce. What does that mean, olamis? Lav afagav sheyachal ledabri mitoch haksav. Means even though he can write his instructions in writing, the Gemara says no. Amar Papa ilav dashmi inan Rav Yochanan, that there's a machlokes here. Havamin and Rav Shimon Gamliel is only the first time that Kabbalah does. He just explaining the first time. He doesn't really argue, and we rely on the ksiva. Umay law means, what did it mean by olamis? It's not because mitoch haksad that he couldn't divorce. Avagav the chazina le decharif. Even though we say later on he's intelligent, we don't rely on his understanding. But the ksav, it would be kosher. Or inami, maybe the brisa means olamis. That's only a husband who became mishiganer or silent. The Rav Yitzchak, Shem Rav Yitzchak, Vartor shoytim iskareshes. Mina Torah, you can divorce a woman against her will. Midava pikches, just like you divorce a regular woman against her will. Bal korcha. So why did the Chachamim say that a woman who became a shigana can't get divorced? Because she doesn't remain married to somebody, men are going to use her in an improper way. She can't watch herself. So here, I mean, even within Torah, you could divorce her. Against rule, we don't allow. Mishnah. Armelo nichtov get liishtecha. We say to the husband, we write a get. Armelan ksuvu. But he doesn't say tnu. Armela soifer. And these people said to the soifer, because of he wrote, and they gave it to Adim. They gave it back to him, and then he gave it to the wife. He has to specifically tell the soifer to write it and to the Adim to sign. And time in the law tnu. And also he didn't say tnu.
We had the same case before.
No.
A similar case. This case was when if you don't
No,
say
because they said ksuvu tnu.
no, but I mean a few daf before, a few daf ago.
Well, they quoted this Mishnah.
Yeah.
They quoted to Mishnah to ask a kasha. Correct. There we talked about ksav soifer and chsam soifer. Correct.
Right.
Time in the law tnu. Hamer tnu noisnin. So, but if he did say ksuvu utnu, you would give the get. Mani, but Mary. The Amr Mili Mimsrin Shlich. You don't have to have a physical thing to give to Shaliach. Words can be given to Shaliach, and he gave them words. Amos Sefer. Ad Shiyamel Sefer Kso V'la Edim Chasumu. Asan Rabbi Yosi. Now you're back to Rabbi Yosi. The Amr Mili Lo Mimsrin Shaliach. You have to give a physical thing to the Shaliach. Reisha Rab Meir V'Sefer Rabbi Yosi. The Gemara says in. Yeah. Reisha Rab Meir V'Sefer Rabbi Yosi. But Abai Amar Kula Rab Meir. It's all Rab Meir. The law Mertnu. He didn't say ksuvu. He just said ksuvu. Iachi, the Mishnah should say ad sheyar martnu maboy. Elach ma'eskinon the lo amar lebeit tlasa. He didn't say it in front of three people. So iachi, if that's the problem, it should say ad sheyar l'shloish maboy. So ela kula Rabbi Yosi. You go back and say the old Mishnah is Rabbi Yosi that you can't give words, you have to give an item. The law amar imru, and he didn't say to the soifer to write. So the Mishnah should clearly describe what he didn't. The fact that it doesn't work is because he didn't say that. Va'od, Rabbi Yosi ba'omer imru. Does Rabbi Yosi agree that even when he says imru, that words can be given? Vatnan. And this is the ksav soifer ve'ed kosher, that if one of the aids was the soifer, that he wrote it, and it's along with another signature of another aid, so kosher, but Rav Yirma, lo, it's not the ksav soifer, el chsam soifer. We see two people signing there. One of them is the soifer, one of them was the aid. And Rav Chizda, Masnisin Mani, who is that Mishnah? Rabbi Yosi, and we'll explain. Now, tomorrow, we're going to learn the blot that we didn't learn in Masechta Gittin. We left one blot to learn, like I think Daf 59 or 58, whatever the blot we didn't learn. We can learn tomorrow, let's say 5 o'clock. Want to learn 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
You should do it after Chatzois, they say, is better. And
not tomorrow, the next day, not tomorrow.
I'm sorry.
On Thursday.
I'm sorry. Tomorrow, we should learn the blot before we go to shul, 7 o'clock, or even earlier, maybe 6 o'clock.
What are you going to eat? What, you have a sudat mafsek?
When is mincha? When is mincha?
No idea.
When is mincha called for?
I don't know what. Once again, I don't know. I don't know if
you want to learn at 5 o'clock.
I don't
Can
know.
we learn tomorrow morning, maybe?
I have surgery. We could learn tomorrow morning at 8:00.
Okay, that'd be great.
Does that work for everybody or not?
What time?
Not for me, but it's okay.
I don't think Kenny can learn either.
Yeah, no, I'm at work.
No, how about 5:30?
Let's do that.
Does
Probably
5:30 work?
we'd have a minute at 5:30, then people go home to eat and they come back for 8:30.
Is 5:00? Will 5:00 work?
Yeah, 5 is fine.
Yeah, 5:00.
Kenny, will 5:00 work?
5 works, yes.
Walter,
5
5:00 is okay?
Yeah, 5.
Okay.
What time does the fast start? Dave? That's the question.
No, the fast starts 8:00.
7.
8:00,
7:40.
7.
Far starts at
7.
8,
What time
7:59.
does the fast start?
7:50.
7:59.
Okay.
So 5:00 tomorrow.
Okay, good night.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks.
Good night.